Okay, let's unpack this. You're dreaming of Portugal, maybe you're even already settling in, and this big thought pops into your head. Can I bring my car?
Right. Your own car.
It just feels like such a logical step, doesn't it?
Yeah,
Your trusty vehicle, that familiar comfort. It's like bringing a piece of your old life into your new one.
absolutely. Makes sense.
But then, bam, the idea of navigating completely new regulations, unfamiliar paperwork, different rules for something as basic as owning a car.
Oh,
It can feel, well, pretty overwhelming right from the start.
it really can.
That challenge, that sort of bureaucratic puzzle,
Right.
that's exactly what we're here to help you figure out today.
And what's really interesting here is that, yes, bringing your own car can be a good move. It might be cheaper, definitely more convenient sometimes than buying new locally. Avoiding that instant depreciation or the hassle of finding a good used car when you don't know the market.
Mm-hmm.
But, and this is the big but, the process itself. It's definitely not just waving a magic wand. There are very specific steps, crucial ones, that need careful attention. So, our mission today is to kind of cut through all that complexity. Give you a shortcut, really, to understanding everything you absolutely need to know about importing a car to Portugal, looking ahead to 2025. We're pulling this straight from comprehensive, up-to-date guides.
Just the essentials.
Exactly, the stuff that actually makes a difference.
That's the goal. We're diving deep into importing your car to Portugal, a 2025 guide. We'll break down the legal steps, the paperwork you just can't skip, and the costs you need to expect, both upfront and ongoing.
Yeah, the hidden costs, too.
Exactly.
Yeah.
We want to equip you with the right info, so bringing your car over can actually be smooth, predictable, maybe even, dare I say, stress-free.
That's the ideal, isn't it?
We want you to sidestep those nasty surprises like unexpected taxes or penalties that can pop up if you're not fully prepped.
Which really brings us to the question, why does this deep dive actually matter so much? Why spend time on this?
Good question.
Because, honestly, messing up even one small step, missing one document, it could lead to major delays getting your car legally on the road. Think weeks, maybe months.
Frustrating.
Totally. And it could hit your wallet hard with unexpected costs that just wipe out any savings you thought you'd make by importing. Or worse, actual fines. Nobody wants that.
Definitely not.
So we're going to synthesize the crucial bits for you. Lay out the clear paths, whether you're bringing a car from inside the EU, which is generally simpler, or from outside the EU, like the UK now, post-Brexit, or the US, where things get, well, quite a bit more complicated and usually more expensive.
Right. So you're thinking about bringing your car into Portugal. First things first, who are you actually dealing with? Bureaucratically speaking, I mean. It's not just one single office you walk into, is it?
No, definitely not. You wish it were that simple sometimes.
Yeah. So you can't just find one government building and get the magic stamp.
Unfortunately, no. If you connect this to the bigger picture of settling in anywhere new, understanding who does what in the administration is, well, it's fundamental.
Okay.
For car imports, you're mainly interacting with two key players. Think of them as, like, the gatekeepers.
Gatekeepers, I like that. Who are they?
First, there's the IMT, that stands for Instituto da Mobilidade dos Transportes. They're basically Portugal's main authority for transport and mobility, sort of like the DMV or DVLA, but maybe with a broader scope.
Got it. IMT. What do they handle specifically?
They're focused on the technical side, making sure your car meets Portuguese and EU road standards, checking its safety, its emissions, all that technical stuff. And ultimately, they're the ones who issue your official Portuguese registration documents, your car's legal right to be on the road here.
Okay, technical validation and registration, that's IMT. Who's the second gatekeeper?
That would be the Portuguese Tax and Customs Authority, the Autoridade Tributária e Aduaneira, often just called finances.
Finances. You hear that a lot.
You do. And as the name tells you, they handle all the money stuff. Taxes, customs duties. So for your car, they're the ones collecting any import tax, like the ISV we'll talk about, and VAT if it applies.
Right, the money side.
Exactly. They also manage the customs declarations, making sure everything's fiscally square. So the crucial thing to get straight is IMT is about the car itself being roadworthy and legal to operate. Finances is about the cost to bring it in and declare it properly.
IMT for the car, finances for the cash.
Pretty much sums it up. Knowing that difference saves a ton of confusion. Sending the right forms to the right place.
Makes sense. That clarity is key to avoid just running in circles between offices, which then leads us to maybe the biggest fork in the road in this whole process,
Yeah.
where the car is coming from, EU or non-EU.
This is absolutely critical. Cannot stress this enough. It changes almost everything that follows the steps, the documents, the potential costs. It's the fundamental starting point. Get this wrong, and you're heading for trouble.
Okay, so let's take the first path. If your car is already registered in an EU country, maybe Germany, France, Spain, you said that's generally simpler. How so? What are the main advantages for someone bringing a car from, say, Italy?
The biggest advantage, financially speaking, is huge. For cars coming from another EU country, you generally pay no import tax, no ISV. That is, as long as the car isn't brand new.
Wow, no ISV. That sounds like a massive saving right there.
It can be, literally thousands of euros depending on the car. Big relief. But crucially, even though you skip the ISV, you still have to register the car with the IMT.
Ah, okay, so it's not just tax-free and drive away.
No, you still need the Portuguese registration, the Portuguese plates. It's a necessary step to make it fully legal here. Another big plus is the EU Certificate of Conformity, or COSI.
The COSI.
Yeah, this document basically proves your car already meets EU standards for safety and emissions because it was registered in another EU country. The IMT usually accepts this without much hassle, which really streamlines the technical approval part.
Okay, so the COSI makes the technical bit easier. What about VAT?
Good question. VAT, that's value-added tax, is generally only applied to brand new vehicles or cars you've owned for less than 6 months.
Less than 6 months.
Right. So for most typical used cars being brought over from another EU country where you've owned it for a while, you avoid both the ISV and the VAT.
So bottom line for EU imports,
Yeah.
less tax, recognized certificates making things smoother,
Yeah.
and the main focus is just getting it registered with the IMT.
Exactly. It's a much lighter process, especially financially.
Sounds like a smoother transition for sure.
Yeah.
But now, let's pivot. This is where it gets, well, really interesting for a lot of our listeners, especially anyone from the UK.
Ah, yes. Post-Brexit realities.
Right. The UK is now treated like any other non-EU country for car imports. Same rules as bringing one from the US or Canada or anywhere outside the EU bloc. What are the big differences? The extra hurdles.
Okay. This is where you hit several extra layers of complexity and, importantly, significant extra costs. First off, ISV, that vehicle tax we just said EU imports usually avoid. For non-EU imports, it's almost always charged.
Always. Ouch. How much are we talking?
It typically ranges from 5% up to 15% of the car's value. The exact rate depends on things like the engine size and, crucially, its co-Euro emissions.
So bigger engines, higher emissions mean higher tax.
Precisely. It's a clear incentive toward greener cars. But yeah, 5 to 15% can add up to a very substantial amount, a major chunk of the import cost.
Okay, ISV is usually payable. What else?
Second, VAT. Portugal's standard rate is 23%. This is payable on new vehicles, or again, if you've owned the car for under 6 months before bringing it into Portugal.
23%. So if you just bought a car before moving,
You're looking at a hefty VAT bill on top of the ISV. That's a double whammy.
yikes.
Yeah.
Okay, ISV and potential VAT. Any other big things for non-EU?
Yes, you absolutely need a customs declaration. It's called the DAV Declaração Aduaneira de Veículo. This is vital. It's the official proof your car has cleared customs and all duties and taxes have been paid. You can't even think about registering without a validated DAV.
DAV. Got it. Customs form.
And maybe one of the most critical points, the one that catches people out, the deadline. Your car must be registered within 60 days of it arriving in Portugal.
60 days. 2 months.
Exactly. Not from when you arrive, but from when the car physically enters the country. And it's a strict, mandatory window. Miss it, and you could face penalties.
Okay, so non-EU means likely ISV, potential VAT, a mandatory DAV customs form, and a tight 60-day registration deadline. That sounds significantly more involved.
It is, no question.
That 60-day deadline feels incredibly tight, especially with all the steps involved, customs, taxes, inspections, appointments. It really hammers home the need to be super prepared before the car even lands here. You can't just show up and figure it out.
Absolutely not. In fact, a really crucial insight here is don't think of your arrival date as day one of the process. Think of it as day one of a 60-day countdown timer for a process you should have already meticulously planned out.
Right, the clock is ticking immediately.
And many people underestimate how long things can take with Portuguese bureaucracy. If you're not ready with all your documents the moment the car arrives, you are almost setting yourself up for delays that push you past that window and penalties.
So preparation is everything. Given that urgency, what's the exact sequence? The step-by-step playbook for a non-EU import? It
Yeah,
sounds like you had to do things in a very specific order.
you absolutely do. It's sequential. You can't skip ahead. Think of it like building blocks. Each step rests on the one before it being completed and validated.
Okay, lay it out for us. Step one.
Step one, the absolute first hurdle, clear customs. This involves submitting that DAV form, the customs declaration. Usually this is done online through the Portal das Finanças, the tax authority's website.
Online. Okay.
And crucially, at this stage, you also have to pay the taxes. That means the VAT, 23%, if it applies to your car, and the ISV, that 5% to 15%. You pay these before customs are fully cleared.
Pay first.
Yes, payment is fundamental. Until customs are cleared and those taxes are paid, your car is basically stuck in limbo. You cannot move to the next stage.
Got it. Clear customs, pay taxes, get the validated DAV. What's step two?
Once you have that validated DAV in hand, step two is to book an IMT appointment. Remember IMT, the Transport Authority for Registration?
Right, the technical guys.
Exactly. You use their online booking system, usually called SIGA, to get an appointment slot. And a word of warning. Waiting times for these appointments can be long, especially in busy areas like Lisbon or the Algarve, so book it as soon as your customs stuff is sorted. Don't wait.
Good tip. Book the IMT appointment ASAP. Then what?
Then step three, but only if your car is over 4 years old, the mandatory IPO inspection.
IPO. What's that?
Inspeção Periódica Obrigatória. It's the Portuguese roadworthiness test, like an MOT in the UK or a state inspection in the US, but pretty thorough. Checks brakes, lights, tires, emissions, the works.
Okay, the safety check.
Exactly. And this has to be done before your IMT appointment. You need to take the past IPO certificate to the IMT. Without it, if your car needs one, the IMT won't register it, period.
Okay, IPO before IMT. If the car's over 4 years old, what's next?
Step four is the appointment itself. Go to the IMT with all your documents, and I mean all of them.
What's the list?
You'll need proof of ownership, your foreign registration title, the validated DAV from customs, proof taxes are paid, your personal ID, passport or residence card, your NEF, Portuguese tax number, and that crucial certificate of conformity or equivalent proof your car meets standards.
That's quite a stack.
It is. They check everything meticulously. They need to be sure the car is yours, taxes are paid, and it meets all the technical requirements.
And if everything checks out at the IMT?
Then, finally, step five. You receive your Portuguese vehicle registration document. It's called the Documento Único Automóvel, or DUA. This is the golden ticket.
The DUA.
With that DUA in hand, you can then legally buy and install Portuguese license plates. And boom, your car is officially Portuguese. You've navigated the maze.
Wow. Okay, that sequence, customs taxes, DAV, book IMT, IPO if needed, IMT appointment with all docs, then registration plates, it really highlights how structured it is. And yeah, that 60-day window covering all that, preparation really is non-negotiable.
Couldn't agree more. You need to hit the ground running.
Okay, so let's say you've navigated the import maze. Your car has its Portuguese plates. You're not quite done thinking about regulations yet, are you? There's this whole other layer concerning environmental standards, especially in cities.
That's right. This is a really important ongoing consideration, particularly if you live in or frequently drive into Portugal's main urban areas. Portugal has introduced low-emission zones, or LEZs.
LEZs? I've heard of those. Where are they mainly?
The most prominent ones right now are in Lisbon and Porto. But there are definite plans to expand them to other cities too, as part of tackling pollution and congestion.
Makes sense. So what's the goal? Just cleaner air?
Primarily, yes. Cleaner air, less traffic noise, better quality of life in city centers. They do this by restricting access for vehicles that don't meet certain, generally more modern environmental standards. It's a common strategy across Europe now.
Okay, so restrictions. My immediate question is, what kind of cars are we talking about? Is it just old diesels, or does it affect petrol cars too? What are the specific standards an imported car needs to meet?
Good question. It's not just diesels, although they are often the primary focus initially. If your imported car, especially a diesel, doesn't meet at least Euro 4 or Euro 5 emissions standards, you could definitely face restrictions.
Euro 4 or 5. Roughly what year is that?
Generally, Euro 4 is around 2005 onwards, and Euro 5 is roughly 2009 onwards. But it varies by manufacturer and model, so you need to check your specific car.
Okay. And if my car doesn't meet those standards, what happens?
It means you might be completely prevented from entering certain parts of Lisbon or Porto during specific times, usually weekdays during busy hours. Or you might have to pay an extra charge or toll to enter those zones.
So real practical limitations on where and when you can drive.
Exactly. It's not just a theoretical rule. It's enforced and designed to actively discourage older, more polluting vehicles in central areas.
How do they enforce it? Are there police checks or barriers?
Mostly no. It's usually done with technology. Automatic number plate recognition cameras, ANPR.
Ah, the cameras.
Yeah, they're positioned at the zone boundaries. They scan every plate that enters. If your car is registered as non-compliant and it's detected inside the LEZ during restricted hours,
You get a fine in the mail.
pretty much, yes. Fines apply for non-compliance, so there's really no sneaking through. It highlights a potential hidden cost and a major headache if you bring a car over without checking this first.
Okay, this sounds absolutely critical to know before you import. Like, deciding whether to bring the car at all might depend on this. What's your advice on checking this beforehand?
My strongest advice is verify your car's emissions classification before you commit to importing it. Seriously.
How do you do that?
It should be on your car's existing documents. Look for the Certificate of Conformity, C if you have one, or the vehicle's technical specifications, often in the registration document itself. It will state the Euro standard, Euro 3, 4, 5, 6, whatever it is.
Okay, find the Euro standard, then what?
Then, actively research the specific LEZ rules for the cities you plan to live or drive in regularly. Lisbon and Porto have websites detailing their zones, standards, and hours. Check if your car's Euro standard qualifies for unrestricted access.
And this isn't just about avoiding fines.
Not at all. It's fundamentally about ensuring your car remains practical for your actual life here. Imagine importing your car, going through all that effort and expense, only to find you can't legally drive it to work or into the city center when you need to.
That would be incredibly frustrating.
Hugely. So doing this check beforehand is vital. It might honestly lead you to decide, you know what, maybe it's better to sell this car back home and buy a compliant one when I get to Portugal. It's a really pragmatic decision point.
All right, we've mapped the authorities, navigated the Yunnan-EU split, considered the green zones. Now let's tackle the beast. The paperwork. For many, this is the real mountain, isn't it? The bureaucracy.
Yes, the paper trail. It's definitely a significant part of the process, no getting around it.
So let's focus on non-EU imports again, as they're generally more complex. What is the absolute bare minimum list of documents the IMT needs? The stuff you simply cannot show up without.
Okay, the mandatory checklist for the IMT. Missing even one item can halt everything you absolutely need.
A valid government-issued ID. Your passport or your Portuguese residence card if you have it already. Basic proof of who you are.
ID, check.
2. Proof of vehicle ownership. This usually means the current registration papers or title document from your home country. Shows the car is legally yours.
Ownership docs, check.
3. An EU Certificate of Conformity, COCOSI, or an equivalent technical document proving it meets standards. This is super important for showing it's safe and compliant for European roads. If you don't have an EU COC for a non-EU car, it gets more complicated. You might need national homologation.
COC or equivalent, the technical proof.
4. If the car is over 4 years old, you need the vehicle inspection certificate from the Portuguese IPO test. Prove it passed the roadworthiness check here.
IPO certificate, if applicable.
5. Sometimes, even if it's not immediately due an IPO, you might need to sign an agreement to undergo the IPO test when required. Shows you understand the ongoing obligation.
Agreement for future IPO, got it.
6. The Vehicle Customs Certificate, the DAV. That crucial document from the Autoridade Tributaria proving customs are cleared and taxes are paid. No DAV, no registration.
The DAV from finances, essential.
And finally, 7. A completed IMT form for vehicle registration. This is the actual application form where you fill in all the details.
The IMT application form itself, all right, that's a solid list. ID, ownership, COC, IPO, if needed, IPO agreement, DAV, and the IMT form.
That's the core list for the IMT stage.
Phew. That really does highlight how thorough Portugal is. They want to be absolutely sure every car meets the standards legally and technically.
They do. It's a comprehensive check. Now, regarding getting these forms, especially the application forms.
Yeah. Is it easy?
Well, the most efficient way is often online. Setting up an account with the authorities, filling things out digitally, it's faster in theory.
But there's a catch?
There's a significant catch for many non-Portuguese speakers.
Right.
Currently, pretty much all the official forms and, just as importantly, all the guidelines and instructions that go with them are published only in Portuguese.
Only Portuguese. No English versions readily available on the official sites.
Generally, no. Not for the detailed guidance. So, unless you're comfortable reading bureaucratic Portuguese, navigating those online portals and understanding exactly what's needed can be well, a real challenge.
So forget just using Google Translate on the page.
You could try, but the nuances of legal and technical language mean you could easily misunderstand something crucial. It's risky.
Okay, that's a huge practical point. Online is convenient if you speak the language. Otherwise, it could be a major hurdle, a real aha moment for anyone assuming it would be straightforward.
Exactly. It often necessitates getting help either from a fluent friend or professional service just to navigate the forms correctly.
Which leads to the broader point about documentation. Why is being so meticulous, so accurate, so important here beyond just the language?
Because this system has very little tolerance for errors or omissions. Any discrepancy, a typo, a missing signature, an outdated document, or any delay in submitting things can cause significant setbacks.
Like what? Just delays?
Delays, definitely. But also potential rejections, needing to start parts of the process over, extra trips to government offices. It can get frustrating and time-consuming very quickly. Bureaucracy demands precision. Accuracy and getting things in on time are paramount for a smooth run.
Get your ducks in a row, basically. Meticulously.
That's the perfect way to put it.
Okay, we've covered the potentially hefty import costs, the ISV, the VAT. That's the price of admission, so to speak. But once the car is here, registered, plated, what about the day-to-day, year-to-year costs? What does it actually cost to run a car in Portugal?
Right, the ongoing expenses, it's a good question because the initial import cost is just one part of the financial picture.
So is Portugal expensive for drivers generally?
Interestingly, it's kind of middle of the road within the EU. It's certainly not the cheapest, but it's far from the most expensive either. Driving here can be really enjoyable, good roads, beautiful scenery. But yes, there are definite costs you need to factor into your regular budget.
Okay, let's break them down. What's first after import?
Well, there's the initial registration fee itself when the IMT issues your Portuguese documents. It's a one-off administrative fee, pretty small, around 55 to 65,
Okay, manageable.
and a little tip.
Yeah.
Sometimes there's a 15% discount if you manage the final registration steps online. Worth checking out.
Good to know. What's next? Annual costs.
Yes. The main annual tax is the vehicle tax, or ISV. Now, wait, didn't we just talk about ISV for imports?
Yeah, that's confusing. Is it the same thing?
It's the same name, but this is the annual road tax, separate from the one-time import tax. Some countries call it road tax or circulation tax. In Portugal, it's also called ISV or sometimes IUC, Imposto Único de Circulação.
Okay, IUC makes more sense for an annual tax.
I agree, IUC is clearer. Anyway, this annual tax is payable on all cars in Portugal. And just like the import ISV, it's calculated based on the car's engine size and its CO2 emissions.
So greener cars pay less annually, too.
Exactly, same principle. It's an ongoing cost, billed yearly.
Got it. Annual road tax, IUC annual ISV. What else?
Car insurance, mandatory, of course. Premiums are generally similar to other EU countries. You could pay anywhere from, say, 200 euros a year up to 1,000 euros more.
Big range. What drives the difference?
All the usual suspects. The car itself, value, model, power, your driving record, claims history, age, where you live, and crucially, the level of coverage you choose, basic third-party only or fully comprehensive. Best advice is always to shop around for quotes.
Insurance. Makes sense. What about maintenance?
The main mandatory item is the IPO inspection, that roadworthiness test we mentioned.
Right. How often and how much?
The test itself costs around 30 euro. As for frequency, it's first due when the car hits 4 years old. Then it's every 2 years for cars aged 4 to 8. And after 8 years old, it becomes an annual requirement.
Okay, so 30 euro every year or two, depending on age. Predictable.
Yep, a regular maintenance cost to budget for.
What about fuel? Cheap? Expensive?
Generally not cheap. Petrol and diesel prices in Portugal tend to be a bit lower than, say, the UK, but often higher than some other EU countries and definitely higher than the US. It's a significant variable cost, depending entirely on how much you drive and your car's efficiency.
Fuel costs need careful budgeting then. Anything else unique to Portugal?
Yes. This is a big one for newcomers. The Via Verde toll device.
Ah, Via Verde. I see the signs on the motorways. What is it exactly?
It's an electronic toll tag, usually stuck to your windscreen. For anyone driving regularly, especially on the motorways, autoestradas, it's practically mandatory, or at least highly, highly recommended.
Why mandatory? Can't you pay with cash?
You often can at the traditional toll plazas, but Portugal also has many stretches of motorway with electronic-only tolls. There are no booths at all, just gantries overhead that read your plate or tag.
Oh, okay, so without a tag.
Without a Via Verde tag linked to your Portuguese bank account, paying for those electronic tolls becomes a real hassle. You might have to go pay later at a post office or pay shop, And it's easy to miss the deadline and get fined. Via Verte makes it seamless. The toll is just automatically debited.
So it avoids fines and hassle on those electronic tolls. Does it do anything else?
Yes, it's expanded a lot. It works for accessing many car parks. The barrier just lifts. You can use it on some ferries, like the ones across the Tagus and Lisbon. It's incredibly convenient. It links directly to your Portuguese bank account.
Wow, okay. So it's not just for tolls anymore. It sounds like a real necessity for smooth driving and parking.
It really is. It saves time, avoids potential fines, and just makes life easier on the road network here. Definitely something to get sorted soon after you arrive if you plan to drive regularly.
Now, we've talked a lot about costs, especially that potentially hefty ISV import tax for non-EU cars. But there's a potential silver lining, isn't there? A way to avoid that big initial tax hit.
Yes, absolutely. And for many people moving here permanently, this is a true game changer. It's the possibility of getting a one-time exemption from the vehicle tax, ISV, when you import your car.
A tax exemption, how significant is that?
It's incredibly significant. Remember, the ISV can be 5% to 15% of the car's value. This exemption means you potentially pay zero ISV on import. We're talking about savings that can literally run into thousands of euros, depending on the car.
Thousands. Wow. Okay, that's huge. Who qualifies for this?
It's specifically designed for people who are moving to Portugal permanently and becoming official residents. It's meant to ease the financial burden of bringing your personal vehicle as part of your relocation.
So it's for genuine new residents establishing their main home here.
Exactly. And because it's such a valuable benefit, the eligibility conditions are very strict. You have to meet all of them.
Okay, what are the conditions? Let's hear the hoops you need to jump through.
Hoop number one, you need proof of permanent residency in Portugal. This means getting your official residence certificate or permit. That's the foundation.
Proof of residency. Makes sense.
Yeah.
What else?
Hoop number two, you must have lived outside Portugal for at least 12 consecutive months immediately before becoming a resident here. They want to see you're genuinely living abroad before the move.
12 months living abroad.
Okay. Hoop number three, you must have owned the vehicle in your name for at least 6 months before the date you officially become a resident in Portugal. This stops people buying a car right before moving just to import it tax-free.
6 months ownership beforehand. Got it.
And hoop number four, the car must be for personal use only. Not for selling it quickly, not for using it commercially. It's for your own transport needs as a new resident.
Personal use only. Right. So residency proof, 12 months abroad, 6 months ownership, personal use. That's the checklist.
That's the core eligibility checklist. Meet all four, and you're potentially in line for the exemption.
Okay, that's clear. Now, proving all that must require another stack of documents, right? What specific paperwork do you need for the exemption application itself?
You're right. Beyond the standard import docs, the exemption requires its own specific proof points you'll typically need. Your valid ID, again, passport or residence card.
Check.
Your NIF, Portuguese tax number.
Yeah.
Essential for dealing with the tax authority. Proof of vehicle ownership and registration documents from the previous country, clearly showing the dates.
Ownership docs again. Check.
Insurance documents for the car, covering that previous 6-month ownership period, can also help.
Insurance docs. Okay.
Now, crucially, proof of residence abroad for those prior 12 months. This is key. Things like utility bills in your name from your old address spanning the year, rental agreements, maybe a council tax bill, or ideally, an official certificate of deregistration from your previous country.
Proof you actually lived elsewhere. Multiple documents usually needed.
Often, yes. They want solid proof. Bank statements showing foreign transactions, tax returns filed abroad can also support it.
Okay. And finally,
your official Portuguese residency certificate itself. The document proving you are now legally resident here. That triggers the eligibility.
your new Portuguese residency proof. Got it. Where do you apply for this exemption? Is it with the IMT or Finances?
This is handled by the Tax and Customs Authority Finances. The application is usually submitted through their online portal, the Portal das Finanças.
Back to Finances for the tax break. Makes sense.
It does. And yes, applying for the ISV exemption definitely involves navigating more bureaucracy. It takes effort, meticulous document gathering, and sometimes patience.
But worth it.
Oh, absolutely. The potential cost savings of thousands of euros and the legal clarity it brings. It's arguably the single most important financial tip for anyone bringing a car when moving here permanently. It makes a massive difference to the relocation budget.
So the takeaway is, the import process might look daunting, especially from non-EU, but understanding the steps, knowing the rules for EU versus non-EU, and especially knowing about this potential ISV exemption, it can make it all very manageable.
Exactly. Preparation, understanding the specific path for your situation, and being meticulous that turns a potentially complex process into a straightforward one. Hashtag tag AdderCap.
So we've really taken a deep dive today, haven't we, into the whole world, sometimes fascinating, often intricate, of importing a car to Portugal.
We certainly have covered a lot of ground.
Yeah, from understanding who the IMT, the Tax and Customs Authority, to that critical EU versus non-EU split.
Navigating those low emission zones,
Tackling the mountain of paperwork.
budgeting for the ongoing costs like IUC and insurance.
And wrapping up with that really valuable ISV tax exemption for new residents.
When you connect it all back, the core message is crystal clear, isn't it?
Yeah.
Preparation is absolutely everything.
Couldn't agree more.
Understanding the right path for your specific car and just meticulously following the steps, dotting the I's, crossing the T's. That's the key to avoiding delays, avoiding fines, and actually making this whole thing stress-free.
We really hope this deep dive has been useful for you, especially if you're thinking about moving to Portugal, or maybe you're already here and considering bringing your car over. We, as part of the Access Portugal team, are passionate about sharing this kind of practical info for expats and anyone looking to discover Portugal.
That's what we're here for.
So if you found value in our chat today, please do leave a comment on our channel. Let us know if you have more questions or maybe suggest other topics you'd like us to explore in future deep dives. Your feedback really helps us figure out what's most helpful for you.
We love hearing from you.
And hey, if you enjoyed this, please give it a like and subscribe to our channel. Your subscriptions, your follows, that's honestly what encourages us here at Access Portugal to keep creating more content like this, keep opening the door to Portugal for people all around the world.
Absolutely. And just to leave you with something to think about, this raises an interesting question, doesn't it? Beyond just the practicalities of getting your car here,
Yeah.
think about the process itself, the planning, the research, dealing with the bureaucracy. How might mastering this challenge actually prepare you for navigating other aspects of settling into a new life in Portugal? What other bureaucratic mountains, big or small, might you encounter where this kind of detailed preparation turns out to be your most valuable asset? Something to ponder.